Hi there, Malcolm here with my 279th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a review for Hellboy and the B.P.R.D. 1955. B.P.R.D. being the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defence. I haven't read any Hellboy before, and I've only seen the two original films, which I really enjoyed, and that was a while ago. I picked this up from the library. It didn't have book 5 or anything on it, so I thought, oh, I'll give this a go. Turns out it's one of the last books in the Hellboy and the B.P.R.D. series, but never mind. And this contains 3 stories in the year 1955, surprisingly enough. And they're written by Mike Mignola and Chris Robertson. The first story is Secret Nature, which I would say is a pretty standard paranormal investigation type story. There's something nasty in the woods. They discover an isolated cabin with mutilated corpses in it. Some young idiots have summoned a demon, haven't they? Leaving Hellboy and his co-workers to try and send this thing back to where it came from. They're quite a good tale. I mean, it doesn't really do anything that The X-Files hasn't done, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or Supernatural, or any of the other series that deal with paranormal things. Got a little bit of social commentary in there. And Hellboy's co-worker Woodrow is black, and they happen to interact with a racist redneck. So there is that bonus, if you want to call it that. But yeah, alright as a story. The artwork, pretty bright. I'm showing you one of the more exciting pages. Yeah, you can clearly see what's going on. All good stuff. Next up was Occult Intelligence. And this is the largest story in the volume. Yeah, it's a 3-comic binding, this one. And I do get the feeling I'm walking into this and I've missed the beginning of the conversation. Like I said, this isn't the first book in the series. It certainly alludes to things that have happened before, without really giving much away. But basically, we're at an Air Force base. There's great big monsters attacking people. This is also during the nuclear weapons testing, and they're testing other type bombs at the moment. The E-bomb, I think it is. And they're being attacked by giant mutant creatures. Not really on the scale of Godzilla, but certainly one can see the line of setting off nukes and then suddenly got giant mutated creatures being rather vicious. There's also a Russian agent who's got electricity, who claims to have encountered Hellboy before. We also have a bit of intrigue and mystery in England with the head of the B.P.R.D, who is Hellboy's adopted dad, as far as I can tell. So there's no explanation about who anybody is in this. And he used to be part of the British Secret Division, but he's trying to find out what's happened to them and why has everyone gone to ground and no one talking to him. And we also meet Susan, who is apparently also part of the team, as she is exploring her psychic abilities as well. There's quite a lot going on there, and it certainly feels like part of a greater story arc, because we have the main story with the giant mutant creatures and this Russian spy, but then we keep jumping back to England with this other thing going on, and Susan with this other thing going on, and they're not part of the main story at all. They're just sort of a thing which really pads out the story of these creatures without adding anything to it at all. I did enjoy it, and I think the intrigue was intriguing enough, but I obviously came away without really knowing enough to even ask the questions, let alone not have the answers. Artwork was nice, clear, clean. You could tell who was who, even if you don't know who anybody is. Yeah, worth reading. Probably worth buying if you read the stories preceding this one and knew what the hell was going on. Like I say, there's nothing on here telling you this is far further down the line in terms of reading order. And finally, there's Burning Season, where people start spontaneously combusting. What's going on? Is it a haunting that's causing this to happen? And Susan, with her new abilities, turns up to try and find out what's going on. It's another short tale. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it, but being a 1-comic story, it was over very quickly. And then at the back we have, as you sometimes get in these collections, notes from the various illustrators and artists who contributed to these stories about their methodologies and their working practices and stuff, which was kind of interesting. And certainly if I've ever wanted to get into writing or creating my own comics or graphic novels, these are really useful tidbits. So all in all, I enjoyed it. I just felt like I was missing something, having not read anything else previous to this. But like I say, there's nothing in here saying that you need to have read anything before this. And indeed, at the end of Occult Intelligence, I actually had to look up to see, okay, that was the end of that, but where's it going from there? That doesn't feel like a complete story. Oh, that was it in its entirety, and it was then I learned that this was one of the later books in the series. But never mind. I think as a standalone it mostly works if you're happy just having some questions not answered at all or even addressed. And throughout the book you do kind of glean who means who to whom and how and why and things to a degree. So definitely worth reading, possibly worth buying, but not as a first purchase. So there you go, that is Hellboy and the B.P.R.D. 1955, the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defence. I had to look that up as well. There's nothing on there telling you what that means either. Have you read it? Have you read any other Hellboy? Or what's your favourite Hellboy story, film, whatever? What would you recommend I read next in Hellboy? Bearing in mind this was the only Hellboy book that was in the library, so my options are somewhat limited. So comments down below please, but as usual if you've nothing nice to say then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe and other YouTubey things if you want. And until next time, see you later.